Well, we have a fair degree of spectrum where we can do both FDD LTE as well as TD-LTE. We have 15 megs of spectrum in 2.3 gigahertz band where we are looking at launching a TD-LTE network. We also have a fair degree of spectrum in the 1800 GSM band. And provided we get the regulatory clearances, it's possible for us to launch 10 megs of FDD-LTE on the 1800 megahertz band. So we have two possibilities on LTE. We're seeing how the ecosystem develops in Indonesia, and we will take a stance after that. Could be a possible DSL replacement. We are not the incumbent fixed line operator in Indonesia, so we don't have strong copper networks. So if you were to strongly compete against the fixed line incumbent operator on DSL, I think TD-LTE offers that option. Yeah, I think the ecosystem will be driven by the Chinese. In fact, last week I met with the senior folks from China Mobile, and they talked about implementing about 200,000 TD-LTE base stations by end of next year, which will be many times more than the number of base stations already implemented. So I think that will drive the ecosystem. And today the main risk for TD-LTE is the devices ecosystem is a bit weak. But if a strong player like China Mobile and through the initiative, other players come in and the scale grows to the potential it can, I think the ecosystem will develop, and operators like ourselves who have the spectrum and are maybe a little bit more risk averse because we have other options would then fully jump in as the ecosystem develops. I mean, for us, we do not look at the OTT players as cannibalizing our main revenues and as competition. For us, we look at them as partners. We have been partnering with quite a few of the OTT players in the past, and we have discussions ongoing with a number of large OTT names. And I believe in the next few years that the scale of partnership can only become stronger. Well, the main takeaway is the long-term evolution is not that long-term, it's here today. I think amongst all the various technologies, be it GSM or 3G after that, which have taken many more years to actually establish itself, I think LTE, probably the time it takes to establish will be far shorter. There was some confusion earlier between WiMAX and LTE. I think the jury's out, the decision's taken. I think WiMAX gone, it's LTE for the future, which helps because it reduces the level of uncertainty in the investment case. And all the money is going into LTE, and I think that's where the economy and the scale will develop. I think the event was very well organized. I think all the key guys were there from different parts of the ecosystem. I met with vendors, obviously, including those who are your big sponsors. I also met with a number of other operators and learned from their experiences in terms of what they plan to do on their investment. And quite surprisingly, I think it was the first event where I saw a few investors as well. So there were a few folks from the private equity space, which I haven't seen in too many of these technology-sponsored events. And I believe when people come in next year, the scale of investments will be much more. There will be more examples from developing markets, which we could emulate and learn from. So I think that could be a reason to come. I think developed markets probably, they're already there in the space of implementing LTE. It's developing markets which aren't that strong today. And by the time the same event comes up next year, I think you'll see far more examples.